Gwen Ross in Minneapolis. The man on the left is Sasha Losef, singing from a studio in Moscow. Two people separated by geography, ideology, and hundreds of years of history are here united on a single screen through the magic of satellite television and the magic of a play called Peace Child.
I want to be peacemaker, чтобы научить людей дружить, to teach people to love each other.
Oh, прекрасно. Well, that'd be great.
In this program, produced by the Peace Child Foundation with WCCO Minneapolis and Soviet State Television, American and Soviet children were linked by a complex satellite bridge. They were able to act out scenes and sing songs from the play in a program that was a living memorial to the young American peace ambassador, Samantha Smith. But what is Peace Child? Where did it come from? The show was born in England in 1981 as a celebration of peace for United Nations Week. It tells the story of Soviet and American children who meet and initially find common ground through their fear of nuclear war.
I don't want to die. Not at all. I want to live. I want to grow up and lead a full life.
They become friends and get on television, and eventually, after many adventures, are the catalysts that bring about peace between their two nations.
I want to live. I want to live.
A year later, the play premiered in North America at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. And finally, in the summer of 1985, the play was performed in the Soviet Union.
Я жить хочу, хочу я жить.
Peace Child was something of a hit in the USSR. The sight of Soviet and American children singing Peace Child songs together, now newly translated into Russian, proved irresistible to Soviet audiences. The cast even got on the primetime nightly news with the Soviet equivalent of Dan Rather. In 1986, American children were there again, receiving the same enthusiastic, warm receptions everywhere they went. But getting Soviet children to come to the United States, that was much harder. It had never happened before. The appeal to leaders to introduce large systems of youth exchange has always been part of a Peace Child play.
We want you to begin a system in our schools so that all children can have the chance to learn to love each other, as we have done.
And in 1986, the Soviet authorities said yes to Peace Child. 10 Soviet and 12 American children toured a dozen North American cities in the first ever joint Soviet-American musical theater production. The tour included a spectacular performance at the United Nations on the International Day of Peace. The tour also brought to America the first Soviet rock group ever to perform here. So why did the Soviet authorities say yes to Peace Child when they had for so long said no to many much larger organizations? One official told us later it was because they liked the play. The American cast was chosen from the pool of about 10,000 kids who performed in the 500 or so Peace Child productions that have happened across America over the last 5 years. They spent 2 weeks rehearsing in Moscow, putting up the show first in Russian for Soviet audiences. The play was greatly simplified for this joint production. It deals with simple themes of trust and reconciliation, children revealing to adults the deeper bonds of love and thirst for life that unites all human beings.
is really a movie and a monologue, and I think more things like that have to be put in.
One of the main features of Peace Child is that each cast is required to write much of the dialogue themselves.
Say a cutesy type of thing, and I think there's a lot of good in that, but I'd like to see it deal with a lot of the conflict and then some heavier issues maybe.
Apart from the two leads, there are no named characters in the show. Each child has to create their own character.
I was going to spend my summer surfing. I got sent here for school. And now I'm here with 23 other children, Soviet and American. We're writing this play. And in this play, we have to convey a message, and it's the message of peace. And I've come to realize through working with these people that if I don't convey that message, I'm going to have to surf under a nuclear cloud.
The story we developed for this tour revolves around the character of Jennifer, a young American who has nightmares about nuclear war. She works out that the root of the nuclear threat is our fear of the Russians. So she decides to go to the Soviet Union to investigate.
I signed up for a Russian language course in Moscow. Here I am in Moscow.
Gdzie prodają mороженое?
Мороженое.
Like all the American kids we took on this trip, Jennifer encounters great problems with the Russian language.
Направо поверните. Потом чуть правее. Потом чуть-чуть левее. Вот чуть прямо. Пройдете еще немножко. Там увидите на углу. Мороженое продают. Мы желаем счастья вам. Счастья в этом мире.
Throughout the trip, snatches of the children's actual experience, like this carnival at Artek, were gathered up and used in the play.
People in the Soviet Union are very, very peace-oriented. I mean, everywhere you go, you see things saying peace in Russian and in English. And the audiences were very warm and receptive to see that there were American kids over there. I was really wondering, you know, what it's going to be like when we get here and what are they going to think of the Soviet kids. But, you know, we've had great reception, just like in the Soviet Union. The audience really loves it. People cried in the Soviet Union, and people cried here. It was great.
In the play, as in real life, Jennifer's time with her Soviet friends has to come to an end. The most remarkable thing about this tour was that everywhere, every day, you could see snippets of the Peace Child fantasy becoming real before your eyes.
I'm Christy Candler. I'm 12 years old. I'm from Santa Barbara, California.
So what's it been like for you traveling on Peace Child?
I don't know. The best is just being with the Soviets and Americans. I've really made lots of friends. My best friends, my older brothers, my younger sisters, my mommies and my daddies. Tasha. Tasha. Tasha.
So who's that?
This is my friend Natasha. She's from Moscow. She's 10 years old.
How do you guys communicate?
She doesn't speak English, and we communicate with our hands. I know a little Russian. She knows like little English.
How do you talk with your hands? Give me an example.
I'm sad. I'm happy. You know, I can use some of the words I've used. Many people. I'm very curious about the Russian language. I think it's very beautiful, and so I ask a lot of my friends on the bus, and they teach me a lot of phrases. Which means little kids always ask why, and the mother goes because, why ends in why.
Why do you think there's war?
Because our countries don't understand each other. I didn't know anything about the Soviet Union when I was on the plane, but I've learned so much, and you know, I mean, look, we're all friends.
Over the years, Peace Child has captured the imagination of many celebrities. The role of the storyteller, played here by the famous Soviet folk singer Lyudmila Senchina, was played originally by Susanna York. Jane Alexander has played the role, and John Denver hosted the Space Bridge program.
You know, we are all the same. What we want is the same for ourselves and for each other. And it's not impossible.
If all of us love each other as children, then once we're adults, there's just no way we're going to stand to continue the policies that have been built up over centuries of hatred. We're going to break them down because we will all be friends. We will love each other.
Everybody knows that our countries are different in many respects. But this should not be the reason for our constantly finding fault with each other. We ought to learn to understand, respect, and especially trust one another. Only then will peace be possible.